Good afternoon, but
How's it, Ashfaq? How are you?
okay, and you, man.
Very well.
I guess before we get to to Sunday's game, I think everybody would like to know your views on what happened on the weekend, particularly your yellow card. Speaking to Jake afterwards, he wasn't so sure that should have even been a penalty. Yeah, how do you feel about that decision?
No, honestly, I just hope we can build on what we did on the weekend, and hopefully that gave us a little bit of indication of how we should play for the rest of the season. I've never been somebody who looks at my own decisions and how things are made whilst being a rugby player. When I'm retired, I'll give you my full my full heart of what I think about it. But at the moment, I can't be talking about officials at the moment.
Yeah, just on Sunday's game, you spent many years in France playing there. Jake has said that this is like the biggest possible game you guys could be playing in the Champions Cup because of Toulousa's pedigree. Yeah, how do you feel about the game and your advice to your teammates as well?
Yeah, if you just see on how the whole French team is playing at the moment, I think they must be favourites to win the World Cup in the end of the season. And I think there's 11 guys that's been playing constantly in their side, and I think it's a great opportunity for the young guys. I've been young myself and played against many great players, and those were the games that I cherished the most, to be able to look at to set myself a standard of how I can compete at the top of the rugby chain.
Just one more from me for now. There's no time for the Bulls over the last few weeks in terms of results. But I felt against Ulster, it was almost like the Bulls team that we were used to from last season, really stepping up, especially physicality and with the forwards. What did you feel about the performance and heading into Sunday?
Yeah, the thing is, I think exactly what you said. I think we've been on the grind every time in the last few minutes, and especially on the weekend where I thought that we had a penalty to be able to kick towards touch. After we just had like a 50-meter maul, I was really feeling positive, and then they changed. They turned the penalty around, and I think that was a big letdown for our whole team. And I thought, especially the way we've been playing and the way we defended at certain stages of the game, we were really on the mend, and I think we were feeling really good after our performance. Not because of the result, but of the performance. We were very happy about.
All right, thanks. How's it, Busy? Morgs from Bloomia. Busy, chatting to Harvey's about it this morning, because they're of course heading to France as well, and for the Cheetahs, playing Toulon is as big as the last time they played against Crusaders. What makes it so big playing against these French giants, and what is the big thing the young players who haven't played against a team like this have got to keep in mind heading into the game?
It's a total different mindset of how we approach rugby. For them to be able to, almost reminds me of when I was in France. You have these super professional players who's been at the top of the game for a very long time, and then you almost come into certain places where it's very amateur, the way it's run. Where you, after a game, in my first 3 months here, it was actually something that irritated me, but the more I was here, the more I understood them. So after a game, for instance, you finish the game and then you put your number ones on and you have a 2-hour function with the public. Where that's how I grew up in in the Free State, where the two teams always played against each other, and then afterwards you had a sit-down dinner. And you have all these old supporters who's been supporting Toulon, Toulouse, Montpellier, Paris, La Rochelle. They're all there for the after-match function, and that's almost like a 19th hole or 19, 20, 21 holes after a long day of golf. So it's the supporters are hostile. When you stop at the, for instance, against Toulouse, it's about a 150-meter walk towards the change room. The same for the Cheetahs. It's about a 150-meter walk, and you walk in this small little path, and they have all these supporters next to them, and they're shouting and screaming, and you don't understand a word of French that they say. So it's quite a big gauntlet you have to overcome to actually arrive in the change room, and then put your boots on, and then these massive supporters of the club are shouting at you like you can't believe.
I'm going to try to see if Bismarck, if we can't get him to open up a little bit more. Bismarck, you're perceived by the rugby community as a meanie and everything, and we do understand that you can't criticize the referees and that, but how does the yellow cards and everything affect your game that you play?
Yeah, I must say the changes in rules I do understand, and I have young kids myself, and I do think we want to make it safer for each and every person to be able to play. But I do think that we should also not shy away from what rugby is. Rugby is a contact sport. As our great coach said, so is ballet as well a contact sport. But I think the big thing that we should get away of is getting where soccer was, or soccer is, where if you're not happy with the decision, you just lie on the ground for some time, and eventually they will go back to that. I just think we are treading in very fine waters to be able to go that route. I think if you speak, especially I saw quite a few friends of mine here in France already, and they always said to me, always ask them, so why don't they play football or soccer? They call it football, yeah. And they said, you'll see after the game why we play, and that's the whole thing that I told you about. They play because you can be as physical as you want against each other, and then afterwards you're friends. Afterwards you have a cold one with a friend that you just played 80 minutes with. That's the thing that I always respected playing against the All Blacks and playing against them, is we would go as hard as we can within the rules, and then afterwards I always had the chance to talk to them, and we're still in contact. I just think that we should get away from stuff that makes such a big difference in our sport. We should keep our sport the way it is and the way everybody likes it.
Just on that, it's been almost 10 years since that infamous Dan Carter tackle, if you remember, Busy. Perfectly legal tackle, and you got yellow carded against the All Blacks in 2013. Could you see it back then that rugby might have a problem with regards to the physicality and the legality, because a lot of people were upset back then, that's 10 years ago, about that yellow card, and here we are 2023, and again we've got arguments over what's a yellow and what's not.
Yeah, I think I think we should keep ourselves to the game on Sunday rather than talking about officiating and the IRB rulings and stuff like that, because like I said to you, if you phone me in a few months' time and I'm on the farm with my kids, I'll give you my 100% cooperation, but I think we got to focus on our game on Sunday against a very, very good Toulouse side who's got 11 internationals playing the French side, which has I think the most influential rugby player at the moment in world rugby playing against us. I think we should focus on that rather than focusing on things that happened 10 years ago.
No, absolutely. And in terms of the way you guys are playing, a lot of people just, speaking about the Bulls, and are you guys confident of a challenge against one of the strongest teams in France at the moment, considering your run of results?
Yeah, I don't think it's one of the strongest. They are at the top of the top 14, I think, with about 8 or 9 points ahead of the second guy. So, like I said to you, when I was young, these are the games that you can make your name. These are the games that you can change your whole future. These are the games that stories are made of. And I think that's our main focus, to be able to be really successful this weekend. We really need a team performance, and we need a performance from 1 to 23 and from 23 to 28. I think we need a buy-in of each and every person. From top to bottom, we need a few better tricks. We need to stop their offload game. We need to stop their physical runners, because you must remember, we playing with a budget of how much, and these guys have a budget almost 4 times our size. They got squads of 60 players in a squad, where we got 40 players or 45 players. They know how to win the top 14, they know how to be successful in Europe or the Champions Cup, and that's why they're such a formidable side.
But you must be really taking the chance to play against Julian Marchand, one of the top hookers in the world, and also another Springbok in Reinhard Elster.
Yeah, I've played a few times against Julian. I've also played here when we beaten them here, and I've played here when we lost to them. I think, like I say, the challenge is not for me against Julian. I think it's from Luce to Kirkley at the back. I think it's each and every person has to win your personal battles in every small aspect of the game.
Just finally, Busy, as we see, the forwards really performed last weekend, but perhaps just the Mole defense also got a lot of purchase after that. Is there something particular that you guys identified to fix it?
Yes, I think it's something we really prepped well for last week, and I think we have to give a guy like Dwayne and to the whole Ulster team. They really took that front ball and they put us under pressure, where we stopped them a few times, but they did make meters and they got some points off that. It was difficult to concede points when we were doing so well. So it's definitely something we need to work on this week. But I think this week in France they drive a lot differently. The driving ball is a lot different. It's all about weight and all about power rather than technique like Ulster. So we just have to be able to match their weight and their power on the weekend.
Busy, while the youngsters not on tour with you guys, how are you feeling that Jan-Hendrik Wessel's transition from a prop into a hooker is busy going? Because he's got almost everything he needs to be a world-class hooker, but it's a matter of probably fine-tuning and getting a couple of aspects right.
Yeah, I think Jan Hendrik is a very talented rugby player, but like we all know, hooker is a very specific. It's almost like a scrum half, where it's a very specific position, like a tight head. Tight heads are born; they aren't made. I'm very happy, and I've always tried to give as much as I can to somebody like that. At the Sharks, we also had Carl Cooper, who was a loose head, who turned into hooker. We had Craig Burden coming from a wing to play hooker. It's something that I take very personal, and that I try to help him as much as possible. And I think the only way you can grow is the way you play, and the way you get game time week in and week out. And I thought on the weekend he scored a good try. He's a very fast guy, and he's really good in the loose, and I think it's game time that will just make him better. And I really hope and pray that we can the Bulls can have another Springbok hopefully soon, and especially that he's coming from our old school as well. So I'm really cheering for him, and I hope for him my uttermost best, just the way like John helped me when I was a young hooker. I really hope that he does well.
Thanks, Bissy.
Okay, good luck guys. Good luck, Busy.
Bye bye.